Good day, Lighthouse family. Thank you for tuning in to this video where we can explain our way forward with regards to the eldership. And so we are commending to you as the current eldership have prayed through and deliberated much about Andrew and Megan Lindstrom and Bern Est joining the eldership. And so just wanted to take this video, put this video together with a few introductory thoughts. We wanted to interview Bern, and we wanted to interview Andrew and Megan, and then some concluding thoughts from myself. Probably about half an hour. So if you could just take this half an hour, grab a cup of coffee, and we really just want to engage with you so that you're able to understand what we are looking at and what we have seen as leaders and why we are commending them to you as well. And so obviously when it comes to elders, 1 Timothy chapter 3 and the book of Titus gives some very clear guidelines in terms of the criteria for elders and deacons for that matter. And those are largely character and maturity issues. And so before any church should look at an elder, they obviously want to make sure they meet the criteria. Once that is met, obviously, then churches have a different idea of the role and the function of elders. And so in some churches, for example, elders are often appointed when they've served for, say, 20 to 25 years in the church. And it's almost looking at the most faithful members then are appointed as elders. In other churches, for example, the leadership is key, and strong leaders and very gifted individuals are often the ones that are appointed as elders. For us at Lighthouse, there are two aspects that are mentioned in the New Testament that are really important for us. The first is that elders are always referred to in the plural. In other words, it doesn't talk about one elder, it always talks about elders plural. In other words, a team. And together that team provides oversight, which is the second key point for us. That implicit in the word elder is that of overseer. Now, it might sound like a bit of a cumbersome word, but we kind of instinctively know what it means. It means to kind of give oversight to. In other words, watching over the vision, the direction of the church, giving oversight to the health and the dynamics of the ministries of the church, guarding and protecting the church from threats, internal and external, covering people, etc. And obviously overall, making sure that we are on track with God and His purposes for the church. And so when we take those two concepts together, that of a team dynamic and that of overseer and overseeing role, we're looking for a team of overseers who can complement each other and who bring different gifts. So we're not looking for all the gifts or responsibilities of one person, but together as a whole can strengthen our team of elders in the oversight that they give to the church. So we want you to listen carefully, to just listen to Bern's heart, to Andrew's heart, to Megan's heart. And hopefully you see and recognize what we've seen as leaders and why we believe they will be so valuable to our team going forward. Okay, so we're going to start off with some serious questions. And so please, Andrew and Megan, your worst food. If I served it up to you, the absolute least thing, you wouldn't eat it on your plate.
I've been quite adventurous in life, but I don't eat anything green.
No green.
Everything green tastes like medicine, even green sweets. So no green for me.
Okay.
No vegetable for you, no cheese for you.
No, it's your turn.
No, a whole lot of other goodies for you as well. I'll pretty much eat anything other than I don't eat offal. So I don't eat...
No, who does?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't eat the lungs, heart, liver, kidneys, brain.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm pretty open to eating pretty much anything that's put on my plate.
You were close, Megan. Had you both said Brussels sprouts,
Yeah.
that's immediate
They're green.
access to...
We know Brussels sprouts.
Oh, yeah, okay,
no.
no. In line with the theology of the church, absolutely.
They're the tambourine.
There we go. So in a nutshell, just maybe you don't both have to go, but how did you guys meet and fall in love? And
So I'm going to let Megan do this one so she doesn't correct me the whole time.
No, I think Andrew and I have known each other for a long time, since we were in high school. We circled the same youth group and churches through various times, but he was always firmly attached to someone else, and I was always firmly attached to someone else as well. And there was just that moment in time where we were both free and available, and yeah, we knew each other relatively well by then.
okay.
So
After school?
after
After school, yeah.
after school.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at university.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we started going out. I think Andrew was in his second year university.
Second year.
And, yeah, been together since then. Long time.
Wow.
92.
Okay. And married in 97, eh?
90, yeah. So we started going out in 92. I then proposed like many times, and we eventually got married in 1997.
Yes, almost 30 years, eh,
Yeah.
of relation. That's
July
fantastic.
97.
So, Andrew Meekin, you were in Joburg for a number of years. You moved back to Port Elizabeth in 2010.
Yeah.
And you came here to the church. You obviously knew some folks from before, and came and had a look around. You also went and had a look around at other churches, and then ended up coming back here. What is it that brought you to Lighthouse? What is it about something of the culture of Lighthouse that you have enjoyed, that you find very easy to fit in and to serve here?
So yeah, I mean, it was actually very interesting that you asked, because originally we probably wouldn't have picked Lighthouse as our home church. So when we were in Joburg, we went to a very large 3,000 person multi-campus church called Liberty. And it was wild, it was huge, it had a massive presence. And so when we came to PE, we kind of looked around, we went to the usuals. We did the Harvest, we did Oxygen Life, we did a whole lot of the churches. We obviously visited Lighthouse as well. And we knew a lot of people at Lighthouse, because while we lived in Joburg, we used to come down once a year and spend a week or 2 weeks in Port Elizabeth visiting all our mates.
Yeah.
So we knew a lot of people at Lighthouse, but it still didn't, it still wasn't it's not that it wasn't a natural fit, but we kind of wanted to look around. We didn't want to just come to Lighthouse because everybody else was here. We needed to find something that would feel like home. And there are many things about Lighthouse that kind of were attractive at that time and are still attractive. At that stage, we had young children, so the children's ministry was awesome. In fact, out of all the churches we visited, this is the one that our children said to us was the church they wanted to go to. Oh. It helped as well that the worship, even back then, when we're going back 10 years, the worship has changed quite a lot in the last 10 years. But even 10 years ago, the worship was fantastic. The preaching is always good, and I think that's pretty much in all the churches in P. It's not like this, but the preaching is actually pretty good, or at Lighthouse as well, in terms of speaking to me as where I am and the age group that I'm in as well. So we kind of looked around and it seemed to be a good fit for us. So we kind of made Lighthouse a home. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Meekin, anything to add?
Yeah, just the one word that stands out for me when I think about Lighthouse is it's just so real. Lots of other churches you go to and you attend, but Lighthouse, when we came here, it felt like home and it felt real. You didn't need to be anyone else or anything else when you came.
Yeah.
Something else to add, and maybe this is a punt or whatever, but something else to add is that, a lot of churches you can attend, but Lighthouse, it's family, you get involved.
Yeah.
So it is different. It's you're encouraged to get involved, and there are ample opportunities to find a space for your ministry within the Lighthouse family.
That's right, yeah.
And a lot of churches don't give you that opportunity. You are a congregant. That is one of the downsides of Liberty in Joburg, is that, the church was very far away. It used to take us 40 minutes.
Sure.
So some Sundays we'd get on the highway and we'd get off the highway before we even got there because of the traffic jam. We'd go home, we'd go and have breakfast or whatever. So we never had that opportunity to really get involved. The only thing that we really did get involved in the church was we had an enormous home cell, which eventually became a church in Midrand.
Wow.
But we obviously got quite involved in the happening ministry. Yeah. Because that allowed us to get involved, but not have these crazy weekly meetings at church that take an hour to get to, an hour to get home, etc. Right. So the upside for me, Lighthouse allows you or affords you that opportunity to really invest and decide on how deep you want to invest and how much time you want to spend, but you have the opportunity to get involved.
Absolutely. And to that point, both of you got involved quite early on. I remember you chatting to me about the happening ministry that I'd only vaguely heard of, and you wanted to bring that to the Eastern Cape, which you have done. Hundreds of lives have been impacted by it, many churches as well. Meekin, you've been involved in missions, you've led missions out of Lighthouse. Andrew, many of the church would know you as our treasurer. You've served on the team of deacons for a number of years now. And you've just been around, you've just been really involved, as has your family. What is it though, in the many gifts that you have, and now looking at the role of elders, what is it that lights your fire, that really stirs you with regards to the kingdom and so on? I mean, Megan, I can probably almost guess yours in terms of mission, but and also the Happening Ministry. What is it about those ministries that kind of fires you up in a way?
Yeah, I think for me, in a nutshell, would be missions, but more so than that is leading and enabling others to also reach their potential in their ministry. I think a lot of people are nervous, especially when it comes to missions. So a couple that I've done with totally newbies, it's been so great to just see them be pushed and be able to step into a new realm in their life. And then I think another thing that's quite special to me is, for want of a better word, mentoring. Kind of like finding the one or two people that you can align with, that have a similar kind of outlook and belief on you, and just walking a walk with them. Maybe they be newer Christians or people that are just kind of seeking in areas. So I've got a couple of ladies that I just walk with and we keep in contact with, and it's been quite exciting.
Awesome. Andrew?
Well, so it's quite a change. I mean, the deacon roles inside of Lighthouse are very practical.
Yeah.
It's we manage and run the church. So we kind of manage and run the finances, the buildings, the grounds. So it's doing a very practical, which kind of suits my personality down to the ground. It is kind of my happy place. But if I contrast that to Happening, which I think excites me more than, I enjoy being a deacon.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the role as treasurer, even though I'm not an accountant, which everyone says to me, that's kind of a bit of almost like an oxymoron. I can be the treasurer but not an accountant. I enjoy the visionary side and the big picture and juggling all the balls and managing the process and kind of making sure everything's working. But if I had to contrast that to Happening and eldership, it's the flip side. It's the other side of the coin. And what I really enjoy about the Happening ministry is it's also practical, but there's an enormous amount of spiritual side to it as well.
Yeah.
And the way you can see over a weekend how lives are transformed, how people's can change from a Friday to a Sunday.
Yeah.
And the impact that short space of time can have on somebody's life is amazing. And I think as an elder, you have that, but you have it over a longer period of time.
Correct.
So you're investing your time and your effort to into people more so than doing things.
Yeah.
So for me, that's going to be a challenge, but I think it's something that I'm quite excited to develop some new skills, I suppose, is the way to put it. But yeah, as I say, I see being in eldership is taking the Happening experience and exploding it, into
Very
a longer, more deeper, meaningful experience.
Yeah. And I think that's what we've recognized. I think those who have been on Happening would have seen Andrew and me. I don't think you've missed any. You've served in various capacities. Yeah. And the heart that you bring behind all the logistics, making it happen, but that heart to see lives changed, which is why you brought it to
almost 600 people and 50-something churches. I checked.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And so it's that and that we've seen the capacity to minister to people, and like you said, to bring that visionary aspect that you are really good at and that you're gifted in. And so this actually has been a process that has gone on for over a year now, somewhat stalled by the COVID-19 pandemic and hard lockdown last year. But in your journey, just in conclusion, how have you felt the Lord has led you in recent months as we've prayed together, obviously for you and you guys have prayed? Has anything stood out or anything that you want to add in terms of how you feel the Lord has been leading you in this process?
Yeah, I was just looking back, and I think more so than these last couple of months, I think like God has had a plan from the beginning, obviously. Yeah. And I think looking back, the kind of Andrew and I have been in leadership roles in various churches over our years, before we were married and since we've been married. And I think it's all been a step leading up to. And the more you do and the more you learn, the more you're entrusted with in that. So absolutely. I really just think that it's God opening another door and another avenue of ministry for us that we haven't been involved in, but which we're very excited for. Awesome. And I'm looking forward to just being able to, as Andrew said, invest in time and energy and that with the members of a very special church.
Thanks, Meet. Andrew?
So yeah, it's been a year. It has been a year. I think if I go back to 2013, when I was approached to be the treasurer, it was also a little bit of a shock because, I'm not an accountant, and in my mind there was like this is what the treasurer is, and this is what the treasurer does. And it took me quite a while to wrap my head around the idea that, as a non-accountant, you can be the treasurer of a church. You can be the visionary on the finances, but actually know very little about how to do the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And as long as you can surround yourself with people that are equipped to do that side, you're okay. So a year ago, when when we were approached and you came and said to us, look, we would like to know if you guys would like to be elders, the same level of shock and horror, kind of, and it wasn't that I don't think I can do the job, I don't think I can fulfill the function, etc. It's not something that, I was thinking that would be something that you would consider me for. I think that's a better way to put it, But I think the Lord has showed me over the last year, slowly that that first of all, it's not up to me to do it. It's within me to do it, but it's something that He will guide and lead me through.
Absolutely.
And the strength that I need to fulfill the function,
Yeah.
I have, but it's something that He will continue to give me and continue to work with me. So, it took me a little while to kind of eventually get over the initial shock, But I think it's something that I would actually do quite well at. I think, if I really think about it, based on our happening experience, and based on the fact that I actually do like people.
Yeah.
Even though I am.
It's useless.
No, it does help. It does help.
I think
so. Yeah. So it's I think I'm very keen. I'm very keen. I'm quite excited about it.
No, thank you, guys. And I think we just want to thank you for the journey thus far, because both of you have been so involved in the life of our church. You've committed yourself fully, and we've seen the value. You talk about the treasurer saying you didn't really know, there wasn't this profile, but you've made it your own, and you've brought in that vision to it, whereby the financial reports are easily understood, the members get it, they're excited about it, and a large part has been because you've brought that visionary aspect that we see and recognize to the role of treasurer. And so we're looking forward to utilizing the gifts that God has given you, the heart that you have for this church and for the kingdom in years to come. So thank you both very much.
Yeah, thank you.
So Ben, what is your worst, don't put that on my plate food?
I'd have to go with sushi.
Sushi.
Let's go with it.
Okay, interesting. I had Brussels sprouts on my mind, but there you go. How did you and Dave meet?
We met at the Harvest Worship Academy, which we attended in 2003. And so we both attended that year, got to know each other, became friends, and things happened from there. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And what do you enjoy about Lighthouse, Ben? We know that your formative years were here. You spent a stint in Johannesburg, and then you came back here and have involved yourself here. What is it about Lighthouse that you love?
Something that, for both Dave and myself, we love the people. I think that is the heart of a church, is the people. So, and so it's home for us. And that's why when we came back to Lighthouse, because when we were away in Johannesburg and then came back down to visit, we always felt like we were leaving home to go back to Johannesburg. And so anyway, so it's home for us. But we also, something that I really appreciate with us having young children is it's the family values that the church carries, and the culture that we have here in worship. Obviously, I'm involved in that. So it's something that where we can move freely is great. And something else that actually is really close to my heart is this whole pursuit that we as a church are walking in the kingdom culture pursuit,
Yes.
And so that's something that I really enjoy about Lighthouse and love to be part of, So
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that kind of speaks even further into what makes you come alive in ministry. What are the things that specifically make you come alive in ministry?
Yeah, so I think worship is a given. It is the way that I connect with God personally and have all my life. And leading worship is really just an honor and a privilege, it's a blessing, you know, and it's such a big part of my life as well. So that I do come alive there. And and then again, you know, with us, with both Dave and our family is such a big part of our life. And so we love to be involved with other families and just share life together and, you know, just walk a journey of faith together. You know, that we come alive there. You know, we get to do it together and we get to do it for His glory, His honor, and with God at the kind of the whole reason that we, you know, that we are together. So I don't, if that makes sense.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. And we are huge beneficiaries of your ministry passion as far as worship is concerned. And so we so appreciate that, Bern. Dave's gifts are different to yours, and we understand that and appreciate it. We actually enjoy it. I know Dave is scheduled to preach later on this month, I think. And so, but our understanding of covering is that Dave would be that for you. He would be your protection. So how does Dave feel about this step of ministry for you?
He's very supportive. He is 100% behind me, and it would be something that I would never agree to without his covering and blessing. So we've spoken about it, and he actually said he couldn't see it any other way. So he's very supportive.
Wow. Super, Ben. Yeah, so how has God led you to this point? I know when we spoke, when I approached you, first of all, with the intention that we had of having you join us on the eldership, you mentioned to me that God had already been making promptings in your own heart. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I think, you know, this is not something that I've ever thought about in terms of needing to do that or be involved in eldership. But it was a thought that crossed my mind out of the blue the one day, where I just had this thought, you know, I wonder what will happen with eldership or something like that. I can't remember what the exact thought was. And then I think it was the next week that you spoke to me. And so instantly I was at peace. It was, like I said to you, not something that I felt I actually needed to go and process further, because I feel God had actually already prepared me for that, which I'm very grateful that He did. Otherwise it would have been difficult to process. But so I was at peace. And then I obviously shared that with Dave. And so, yeah, we just feel it's probably the right thing to do. Want to be obedient to that.
Yeah. Wonderful, Bern. We are so appreciative, and thank you so much for joining us. We thank you for what you bring to this church, you and Dave. Yeah, we're excited for the future together.
Yeah.
What God has in store for all of us.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
Super.
Bless you.
So there you have it. And you've heard from Bern, Andrew, and Megan. And I hope it just gives you a little insight into their heart, how God has been leading them, and a little bit of information behind the faces that you see leading worship, presenting the financial report, or leading a mission team in our church. So just to conclude, what we look for at Lighthouse in terms of all of our leaders, and obviously particularly applicable to elders, would be what we call the 4 C's: character, commitment, competence, and connection. And basically it's a grid for us biblically to develop and to grow leaders and to recognize the gifts that they bring. So firstly, character. I think we've spoken about character. We've spoken about the responsibilities of 1 Timothy chapter 3, and the character that Bern shows, that Andrew shows, that Megan shows, I think is beyond question. And those of us who have known them for a long, long time will know that they value character and they walk in that Christ likeness. And they have consistently for many, many years. And so we can commend that as just a strong attribute in their lives. The second thing is commitment. And so we're looking for commitment to God first, commitment then to family, and then commitment to the church. Again, their commitment to God speaks for itself. I think we all know all of them to be really devoted to the Lord above all else, and they put God first in their lives. then they're also committed to their families, and we would know that. And their children, their whole families are serving the Lord and very engaged and involved here at Lighthouse. And then thirdly, commitment to the church. And you would know both the Ests and the Lindstroms are really, really engaged and involved. And we so appreciate that. And so as long as they've been around at Lighthouse, they've not sat on the sidelines. They come regularly to church. And this is important because leaders have to be present, especially elders. If they're going to oversee the health and the ministry of the church, then they've got to be present. They need to be known and be known. And so that engagement of being at most church events, regularly at Sunday services, and even though times are unusual at the moment and some people are not back at church yet, we understand that. Bern, Andrew and Megan have been regularly in church along with their families. And that helps us because we know what out of this for some time to come. And so as we move through this year and beyond, we see that as quite valuable, that commitment that they've shown to the life of the church. And then competence, we're looking for their ability. And obviously we know what they can do. We know that Bern can lead worship. We've seen Andrew as treasurer and the role he plays. We've seen the happening ministry well run. And all those things are incredibly valuable. What I'd like to highlight are things that we have recognized, both as elders, but also recognized within the body of Christ, the family at Lighthouse as well. We recognize Bern's prophetic gifting. We recognize a growing wisdom that she carries in just seeing the role of the kingdom and priorities of the kingdom in all the nuts and bolts of church life, if that makes sense. We also know Bern and Dave have been really connecting with some of our young families who also have young children like they do in the life of our church. And we think that is good to be represented on the eldership because it's such a key age group and dynamic in the life of our church. And so we recognize these giftings in Bern that we feel would be of value. And then Andrew and Megan together, the happening ministry, as we said earlier, all that they learnt and saw God do in the happening ministry. We're saying we want to draw now in the wider context, the leadership, the vision that they've given, the concern and heart that they've given to people to see lives change through happening ministry. They would now have the opportunity to do in the wider sense at Lighthouse. We've already seen evidence of that in the roles that they play. Andrew being just transforming the role of treasurer into just bringing that kind of vision that has just been so incredible the last couple of years. Megan leading missions at Lighthouse, being part of our mission team. And a lot of the work that they do in people's lives that you don't even see because they just quietly go about their business, influencing people, investing in people, helping and assisting people. And so we want to draw from that, and particularly the visionary governance ability and anointing, apostolic, if you like, of pushing the advancement of the kingdom at Lighthouse. We see as really critical. We know that mission is where we are going, and we are committed to that. And so the value that Andrew and Megan bring together in the missional space, we believe, is crucial to our growth and to our vision going forward. And so their competence, I think we know them to be extremely competent and faithful in the things that they have been entrusted with thus far. And so in entrusting them with a little bit more responsibility, we believe that they are ready in the Lord to step up. And we will benefit and draw from the gifts that they have. And then largely connection. The connection is the ability to get on with people and connect with people and so on. And all of them are extremely teachable, are well loved in the life of the church. I know all of them have apologized where they feel they've overstepped the mark or whatever. And that kind of humility is valuable on a team, especially an eldership team, where we can debate, where we can pray together, where we can perhaps from time to time disagree, but we do so in love, we do so out of respect for each other. And Andrew, Megan, and Bern really carry that in their hearts, the ability to connect with a wide range of people. Because obviously, ministry is always about people at the end of the day. And so even though they carry different gifts and they bring different gifts, in the whole, we believe that our eldership will be significantly strengthened. And so we're not looking for all of them to be exactly the same. And so, for example, you wouldn't think of Andrew necessarily as a very pastoral person, but but we will represent it on the eldership with pastoring people, with Andrew Kay and Mark and Kim and so on. But we need in that apostolic thing that he brings, for example. And so we see the prophetic role. Megan carries a prophetic gifting, and so the prophetic is strengthened. The apostolic is strengthened along with the teaching gifts and the evangelist gift and pastoring gifts. And together, the fivefold ministry then is strengthened as we move ahead. And we're really, really excited about it. And so for all of these reasons, we are commending Andrew Lindstrom, Megan Lindstrom, and Bern Est to you as elders. So just on a practical note, where do we go from here? Just to say this, the Strouds, Basil and Vicky Stroud, who are currently on the eldership, their term actually comes to an end at the end. It came to an end at the end of last year, and although we could co-opt them for the next couple of months, we just want, in a spirit of transparency, ask and say to you, we'd like to co-opt them for the next 6 months, just the first 6 months of this year, just as a transition, just given the debacle of COVID and hard lockdown, and church is not quite normal at the moment, and so on, making it quite unusual in terms of planning and so on. And the governance that Basil and Vicky have brought over the last couple of years, and particularly this last year, we believe would just be valuable to us going forward. And we don't want to lose that and have this jar in, they step down and new guys step on. It's also partly a culture that we have cultivated over many years of unity, of just respect for each other, just the harmony that we flow in as an eldership. We are so close, and yet we all, bring our various giftings and our various ideas and how God's leading us to the party. We really just feel that it would be great to just have them in an overlap from the next couple of months as Andrew, Megan, and Bern come on board, so we can keep the culture, the leadership culture, the unity of the eldership. The other practical thing that we want to say, and those who are close and would know this, but we just want to be transparent that it's not lost on us that the Strouds and the Lindstroms are close friends, that Bern is very close to Kim and I, and we've talked about that. But we have looked at this long and hard, and it's not because we want to get them in, and we don't have a culture of positions for pals and that kind of thing at Lighthouse. We are gift-based, and we recognize giftings and callings that will benefit the body of Christ and bless the church. And so we've honestly, as a leadership, spoken about this, and we would hope that you would see the integrity of the leadership and know that we have looked at this, and we are presenting Bern and Andrew and Megan on their merit and what they bring to the church. We believe that they would add great value because we're not a group of yes people either. We debate with each other, we disagree with each other, we challenge each other, but we do that in a spirit of love and respect for one another. And we don't see how that would change or continue. We wouldn't have it any other way. And so Andrew and Megan challenge me as I've challenged them. I'm a better leader because of how they've challenged me and how we grow together out of the respect that we have for each other, as they've done with the Strouds, and so it goes. And so we just wanted to be honest with you and say that we want you to recognize their gifting and what they would bring, and to assure you that the leadership that the eldership have given, we believe, will just go from strength to strength. And so if you have any concern or any question that you would like to ask, we don't want this to end up in like little, murmurings around the church. Any question you have, please come and ask either Pastor Mark, or myself. You're welcome to ask any question. Every time we've presented an elder or a potential elder, somebody has taken the liberty to ask a question. And I've answered the question, and every time, without fail, they've said, "Oh, thank you very much. You have my endorsement." And so we just are transparent. And if there's any question whatsoever, won't you take it? We don't want you to stew about it. We don't want you to wonder what you can do about it. Ask the question. Contact Pastor Mark. Contact myself. Please, it's not anonymous. We'd love to share with you. We play open cards at every turn, and so we would love to be able to answer the question or address any concern that you may have. So we allow for 2 weeks for that. So you're welcome to do that in any time. Contact us, and then after 2 weeks, we'll give you instructions. We'll probably do it online as we did with the budget presentation, a Facebook poll where we would ask you to endorse the leaders. And so any question, please ask us. Otherwise, we would be asking you to see what we see and get behind what we are presenting to you, and we would look forward to your endorsement. So be in prayer Any questions, let's ask. Thank you so much for watching. We are excited. We believe that we are going from strength to strength. And as we come through this pandemic, we want to do so with the best leaders. And this goes across the board. We are, as I mentioned on Sunday, raising up a preaching team. New communities are being planted. We're excited about this season, and this is part of it. Thank you so much.